Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Hayden Newberry Fishing. I'm Hayden Newberry. If you're new to the channel, I'm a travel nurse and I just made it to South Carolina. My last video was in the driveway beside the camper before we left. Shortly after that video, we made it 30 minutes down the road at night and I blew a tire on the camper. So we ended up only making it like 2 hours and then pulled over, went to a hotel, and then finished off the trip the next day. So back here in the camper, still got to go back and get my boat, but I've been making a lot of these videos just kind of talking about interesting things with fishing, breaking down little parts of it and everything, and giving some tips where I can. But I enjoy making videos like this. I like watching videos like this and just talking about fishing. So today I've been thinking about the schedule for next year and everything, and something that had been on my mind is the crowds that everybody's been dealing with the last few years with high school, college fishing, the Opens, the NPFLs, the Toyota Series, the like 5 different tours that there are out there, the BFLs, everything. Something that I think some people have probably talked about before. I've talked to other people about it, and I thought it was kind of an interesting thing to think about that is really actually realistic for big tournament organizations to do to lessen some of the traffic on lakes during tournaments, to make really the weights in tournaments better, make it easier on the field. Is something that it's something that I feel like could easily be done and is done in some tournaments sometimes, but the vast majority don't do this, and I don't know why. But and I'll explain that further after I say this. But it's tournaments, multi-day events, and bigger or single-day events really being fished all the way like in the middle of a week rather than the weekend. Like BFLs are always on Saturday, which I understand that a lot of the guys don't even practice for BFLs. But I'm talking Toyota Series, Bassmaster Opens, things like that. And I feel like the Bass Pro Tour has done kind of a good job of that, of starting to change things into a lot of the tournament days being on weekdays. Their tournaments are obviously over a longer period of time. But I don't know why we don't fish Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then practice over the weekend. To me, that makes, or not even practice over the weekend, just fish, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. To me, that is a way better option than, obviously the guys, the weekend guys have to deal with the boat traffic, because you got a bunch of guys that want to go out and have fun on the weekend on the lake. They get there and there's a 250 boat tournament on the lake that day, or a couple hundred boat tournaments. It would be so easy. The guys are already taking off like 2 weeks in advance. Some guys are taking off 3 or 4 days to practice before the tournament. Why not just practice on the weekend, the weekend before, or spend your couple days practicing like Monday, Tuesday, and then fish Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? I don't know why we always have to have the final day of the tournament on Saturday when the lake is the busiest that it's ever going to be. And then you're interfering with just the local guys that's their day off and they want to go out there and fish. I think it's perfectly reasonable to fish any 2 to 3 day event in the middle of the week. I personally, as a guy competing in those tournaments, would love for all the days to be in the middle of the week, because then you don't have to worry about local traffic as much, or say a high school tournament being on the exact same day as your Toyota Series tournament, and you get to the first day, or maybe they've got a final day. I know that last year there was a huge tournament at the same time as a high school event. It was a Toyota Series and a high school tournament the same time on Texoma, and there was a bunch of problems with that I heard of. But yeah, I let me know in the comments what you think about that. But I feel like that it's kind of a no-brainer. But I guess to go further on that, with I guess modifications that they could make to different tournaments and stuff like that to lessen the traffic, aside from just moving the dates, would be orchestrating with each other, with maybe one in the middle of the week and then the next one on the weekend, and then say the Opens fish this tournament this day in the middle of the week or whatever. With high school tournaments, I feel like there could definitely be some changes made there. Not to get into that arm of it too much, but I mean, I feel like it would be reasonable even for like high school tournaments to be fished on smaller bodies of water where the kids aren't using $100,000 bass boats and having to have a really good rig to fish a huge lake. I feel like it could be really, even to get a lot of the high school traffic on, not to like hit on that high school teams have to be the ones that don't fish the huge lakes and major bodies of water for tournaments, but I feel like it would be reasonable for the high school events, even like on the regional levels and stuff, to be split maybe smaller, which they might already do that. But from what I've heard, there's a lot of high school tournaments that seem to be on the same days as major Toyota Series tournaments and stuff. Why wouldn't they fish on smaller lakes at a really small regional level, and that way that at no point do they even have to have necessarily access to an expensive bass boat to fish their league tournaments. But I don't know. That was something that I wanted to talk about. In that, well, and even on top of that, I don't know why we always, for tournaments, since we're on the subject of time, I like these videos because I'm just gonna kind of dig into everything about time with these. But what about even if we move it to the middle of the week or earlier in the week, off of the weekend? I don't know why we have this weird fascination with major tournaments having to be fished from sunrise to 3. That's another kind of odd thing that we do I think there's the fishing world as a whole a lot, but you'll have a lot of like Wednesday nighters and stuff like that, local level tournaments, but high level tournaments, just, it's like we have a time zone where we have to have the tournament. Like, I feel like it would be kind of an interesting mix up to maybe have some of the tournaments in a year during the year that are 10 to dark, and just do that the opposite. Because me personally, when it's 20 degrees outside, I wouldn't mind fishing from 10 a.m. and then getting that afternoon bite where it's a little bit warmer outside. But I don't know, those are just some things that I feel like nobody ever takes into consideration for large tournaments, but would be some really easy changes. I mean, we're already trying these like crazy changes apparently on the Bass Pro Tour side, where they just every year they change something huge. So why not at some point with some of these Toyota? What would even hurt if they took and just did one Toyota Series tournament in the early year to where they fished it like 10 to night and Wednesday through Friday? I don't think it'd make a huge difference, and I think a lot of the guys that fish it would appreciate it. But anyway, thanks for watching the video, guys. See you on the next one, and stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel.